Go live, deixa eu ver aqui o meu streaming do YouTube.
Aqui dá para ver a galera, quanto tem de gente.
Você tá com o StreamYard aberto? Dá. Pelo StreamYard dá.
Aqui dá para ver a galera, quanto paga. Eu só vejo o private chat aqui e o comments.
Ah, então, não, tem que ver pelo YouTube aqui. Deixa eu ver aqui.
Esse private chat e comments aparece dos caras também.
Isso. Acho que já começa a entrar. Aê. Vixe, Arthur Martins, não. Deixa eu bloquear esse cara logo de cara, porque vai... Não.
Ele já tava ali, ó.
Ele já tava espreita ali, velho.
Já deve ter colocado umas 10 perguntinhas ali, ó.
Fácil.
Pra colocar em xeque.
Deixa eu só mandar um bagulho aqui no YouTube. Celular bom. Deixa eu mandar aqui um live on YouTube. Beleza. Bloqueia aí. Mandou um fera ferida agora, hein? Deixa eu ver. Live no YouTube. See preview. Eu vou botar o Tucão na live também aqui para bagunçar o coreto. Pronto.
Demorou.
Isso.
Deu link para ele?
Vou dar, mas não sei se eu vou deixar entrar não, viu? Vou mandar o link para ele aqui. Fechado só para ele fazer uma graça aqui. Ele faz umas perguntas também para você, ao vivo.
Beleza, vamos embora. O desafio tá aí.
Tá, eu tô de pijama ainda, não veio com essa não, isso não é desculpa.
Tá de cirola.
É de cirolão.
Aquela cirola frouxa, sabe?
Tem que estar bonitinho para entrar na live, tem que...
Vou pentear o cabelo.
Foi. Hi guys, it's gonna be in English, not in Portuguese, okay? Don't worry.
You begin to ask, what language is that? The dialect.
Ai, eu estou de regata, deixa eu pôr uma camiseta, meu ovo.
É aquela regatinha americana, sabe? Do cara que tá...
É camisetinha branca listrada, assim, vermelha?
Não, aquela regatinha do cara que acorda, frouxa, sabe? Suada, aquela meio amarelada. Fritar o ovo, bacon.
Hello, guys. How's the streaming right now? Is it good?
Hey, Leandro, it's better to me to still here watching you guys from StreamYard or go to YouTube? Here in
Não,
my...
StreamYard.
Ok.
Você pode manter pelo StreamYard, porque se você abrir as duas, a conexão...
Vai dar eco, né? Não, e vai dar também.
E vai dar eco. Eu tô com o meu aqui do YouTube também, ele tá mudo, mas eu tô vendo só o delay, como é que tá. Great, guys. Great, guys. Vamos começar? Get ready?
Cool.
So, thank you guys for watching us today. Today we have a special guest, Cleber Vieira, my friend. He was a former co-worker at General Motors, and today he is working as a professor at CCS Detroit. So, thank you, Cleber. I would like you to introduce yourself for our guests. So it's up to you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Cleber Vieira. I used to work with Leandro, as he already told you guys. He was my colleague, just in the same room, like working in the same studio at GM back then. So, well, today we are here to talk about interiors, mainly interiors, but of course we'll cross the boundaries and talk about like transportation design, right? So I began my career. I began my career together with Leandro, but I have to explain a bit more, like what I have been doing until here, so and how I began. I don't know if everybody knows, but my first major is advertisement. You know, and actually this helped me a lot. Going back to look at that guy.
We have
What's Let me get the cable here.
Let's grab a beer. Let's grab a beer.
Yeah, let's have a beer. I have one beer here.
No, I need to get a cable. My battery will die in a few minutes.
Oh,
yeah, there you go.
Glad to be like together with you guys in the chat. I think that I was almost dreaming about like that kind of conversation with you guys for a long time ago.
Tô de pijama ainda. Eu falei.
So, well, continuing. My first time in automotive design was actually with those two guys here. I used to be their intern. So I don't know if you guys know, but we are like with the same. Like actually, we have almost the same age, but I used to be their intern because again, my first major was advertisement, and then my second degree was actually in industrial design. I don't know if you guys know, but in Brazil we don't have like a bachelor of fine arts related to transportation design. So mainly we have product design and industrial design. And I got like I followed that doing as my second major in industrial design. And in my last year, I had the chance to be an intern inside of General Motors Brazil, and that was the wonderful time that I met those two icons of the industry.
No, you were a student.
So yeah, exactly. I was a student there, and like, but already had that beard. You know, in that age and learning everything again, those guys was actually rock stars already, and I was barely sketching like a steering wheel or even like a wheel. And this actually was pretty good for me because I was like with a different maturity and a great experience in knowing a lot of like professionals like them and trying to absorb in 1 year, trying to absorb as much as I can, like all these kind of skills. After GM was really hard, and I began my first as a junior design in FCA in Brazil as well for 1.5 years. Come back to GM after that and continue the process of observing and developing my skill set in interiors. You know, so was the beginning of the things how I approach interiors.
I remember you had a pretty interesting system of cutting boards, dude. Can you talk about that for a while?
Of course. Well, we all know, like today, first time that I get in class, I talk, look, nobody's perfect here. I had like a lot of problems there back then, like learning how to be organized and still learning here, you know. And this was a time that actually, like, Nozaki said, like, hey, we need to cut that board and send the right measures and say, yeah, I can do that by hand. And say, what? Like,
It's a
it's
20
3
feet
meters
long,
more.
20 feet long board, dude.
And then
Oh
you
god.
by hand, I say, yeah, I think that I can get that. Yeah, but like it took too long to print the entire board and say, like, imagine like just like cutting by hand, like it would be like risky.
Guys, this
You
is
know,
Cleber Vieira cutting a 20 feet border. He just fold it up, okay, like this, and then okay, just like that. This is Cleber Vieira
Oh,
cutting a
dude.
board with a high precision cutting board. Okay,
this
go
was
on,
great.
Cleber.
Well, like, and those are actually see like here I'm teaching most of those guys to not commit that kind of like of mistakes. Like those mistakes I was like doing actually when I was working already inside of the industry. So like I'm glad to have those kind of challenges as well and learn like maybe this is wrong. Okay, let's try to do it.
Yeah, that
You
was
know?
awesome.
Okay,
I
and
love it.
then you move to Europe, right?
Yeah, after almost 4 years together with like all those talented designers, I was trying to actually since like a GM is a huge studio, you know, like you have like at least there where we have like a 15, 20 designers more or less working there, like and also like not including the clay modelers, the digital modelers, the studio engineering and everything, you know, was a huge and international studio. I was trying to go to try to work abroad. It was really hard. Like everybody wants to go and design abroad, and particularly at GM that time. And it was so I decided to okay. So since here is quite hard, let's try to go like in different companies and see like what happened. I began to build, and that was like a good case that I show my students that how it is important to have a good portfolio. You know, like because you never know who will be looking at, and interior, exterior doesn't matter. Like I was open to work abroad, doesn't matter like what could be inside of the industry, what I have to do. So I begin to spread my portfolio around the entire world. Doesn't matter, like in China, Korea, India, like and Spain was one of the first like first place that actually got interested in my portfolio. And that time was Giugiaro. Ito Design was already part of Volkswagen Group, and that time the head of the design Giugiaro design, entire Giugiaro design was Raul Pires. He was like the head of the Ito design Giugiaro there in Italy and then Spain, you know. And after that, they like the folks from Giugiaro Spain called to send me an email saying, "Hey, can you come here tomorrow for an interview?" And say like, "Oh, like I can because I live in Brazil." And then they just realized that they say, okay, no, so we can do a Skype interview. Say, no, no, that's okay. I can be there. I think that will be even better. And this was the time that actually I took all my chances and say, look, maybe in-person interview will be better than today is different, I think, because we have all these pandemic situation,
Mhm.
and Skype and Zoom is quite common and even
Yeah,
better.
that
But
became
in that
natural. Yeah.
Yeah. But in that time was like a in-person interview was something that actually I was trying to be perfect there to get that opportunity. So I went there, I flew there, and I think it was Friday, and the interview was a Monday. So I got the weekend to experiment and see like, okay, how I get there in the right time to not make any mistakes. I get the tram and the subway and got there like a few days, like this was Saturday, just to make sure that it will be there on Monday in the right time, and say, okay, now I know what it is. Let's come back to the hotel, and I'm ready for Monday. And actually, the interview was pretty good. Like they liked me, and I was quite excited to begin, but I didn't know like if the process has to continue. After 1 month, they call me back and say, "Look, you were chosen. You were the chosen one. So right now will be a long
Chosen
process.
one.
Chosen, and will be a long process right now because you have to send out all your documents to have the visa. So as soon as you get the documents, like faster will be the process. But it will take like just have patience with that. And after 1 month again, the visa was done, and that was the time that I moved to Barcelona. And that's why I suggest all you guys as well, like be open-minded with the places that you have to work. You know, doesn't matter the place where you are. I think that like mainly what a designer has to be in their career is open-minded to understand and learn different cultures. You know, you will see like as in a different perspective your country, your own country, and your own culture, and think in a different way as well. You know, and begin to understand different cultures without prejudice, and you begin to uh, absorb that as just as a matter of differences. You know, so that's was my journey until like Ito Design Jujaro. After that, I spent like 2 years there. Was really nice. I was actually trying to continue the process of like, look, I think the studio in Barcelona was pretty small, was not that huge. So I learned with a lot of guys there as well, mainly with the Volkswagen group brands. So Porsche, Volkswagen, Seat, Skoda, MAN, you know, was working with all those kind of brands. Was like I'm pretty honored to be part of that team as well. And after that, like I got a chance to work in Germany with Mitsubishi as a lead interior designer. I was the only interior designer there. And it was funny because there was nobody related with interiors. Even the engineering was like in Japan. So I have to report directly with Japan and my boss. And they are just like, it was the exterior guys asking for interior proposals. It was like pretty funny, but I have to lead the way how I observe and how I can get like information from engineering and put everything in the right place to get the proposal in the right time, and competing with like with the satellite studios in Japan as well. So it was a great opportunity to be there to get that kind of like leadership inside of my skill set, you know. And yeah, this I think that for in a kind of a transportation design field was mainly the companies that I have been part of.
Nice, nice. And then you are in United States working
Exactly.
as a professor at CCS Detroit. How do you think about this responsibility?
Well, is you know like when I was I look at this position at Cards and News. I say, well, it could be nice because something that I was missing inside of the studios, and mainly in the automotive studios, you I would not say like that all the studios are just like that, but like you can feel a lot of ego, you know, and protecting ideas and not sharing the ideas how I think they should be. So that feeling that you like that I was missing that feeling of hey, you know, like Arthur or Leandro, what do you think about that? You know, yeah, like yeah, it's sometimes you know like if you are not open to listen, could be like a hardship for you, for your ego, because it's it's just like your creation, you know, and you have to be able to open and share that, but you have to be able to listen as well. It was funny because in Giugiaro, for example, they have like this Italian culture. They will say if it is a shit, they will say that is a shit. So this is good for an instance, but you have to maintain the atmosphere healthy, right? So it's always a kind of balance. And I was missing that kind of balance about sharing ideas and being like in a way that has to be good for the process to keep going, the development process progressive, you know. And I think that maybe going like in teaching, I can try to have that kind of feeling. So every time that I step in my class, I try to explain to my students that there is no right or wrong, and we are discussing about that as well. Few weeks ago with Arthur about I cannot put my feeling in my ideas. You know, I have to actually put outside and see like that there's no right or wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and accept that different cultures or different
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, and see how that could be uh, in the right track, because it's always the way how you approach, and not because that particular student could be like skilled and that one could not, but that one, the other one could be like really talented and creative, and the other one
Mm-hmm.
could not be that talented as well.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, so that's why I think that going to CCS and trying to get on that kind of mindset was pretty nice. It's just like a creative hub when we all collaborate with the same concept with different many ideas.
Yeah, I think we talked about like you cannot use your own rule to measure the world, right? Because people are different, they think differently, they have different experience, they have different knowledge and different knowledge levels and different skill levels as well. It's like you said, maybe a guy is pretty creative, but he's not talented on like hand sketching, but he can model or he can do something else. He can be a modeler or whatever, right? There are many different ways to express your creativity, and that's why I agree with you when you say there's no right or wrong. I don't think there is a recipe for anything in life, right?
Exactly.
Everything is based on experience and how you lead it, how you receiving and learning a specific skill set. Like even if you Leandro can talk about his students, like he teaches the same method because for him this is what makes him Leandro, and this is the method he developed to come to this level. But some other students, they might absorb differently, right? They and this is what is cool about being a designer, because sometimes you learn a little something from someone else, a little something from some other people, and then at the end, when you mixture all those, then it's you, right? That's why I always encourage people to try to learn as much as they can. Try Leandro's, try someone else method, because at the end it's going to be you, and you're a special person, right? That kind of puts everything together. So
Exactly. So that kind of approach give me a kind of respect in my class. You
hmm
know, they feel like, okay, I'm comfortable to make mistakes, you know,
hmm
and learn with that. It's not just
hmm
being perfect with the best sketches or renders there, but how you get there. You know, the
hmm
process of getting there is most valuable, because you can see a lot of like works on the web, Behance, Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram. You see a lot of beautiful work, but you don't know how to get there, or how like, actually the designers process
yeah.
uh, until this beautiful piece of work. You know,
Uh-huh.
and this is important. I try to push these students and say, look, this is beautiful, but how you get there? You know, how many
Uh-huh.
proposals you can do.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to make like a different proposals,
Uh-huh.
like you will be fatal. You know, like
Uh-huh.
it's a dead match. So that's my
hmm
point.
Yeah. And again, I think when you invest in knowledge and you invest in learning something new, it makes you already ahead on the competition, right? And people like they might be, oh, should I invest in this course? Should I invest in this kind of knowledge? Yes, you should, because if you don't, someone else is doing it. Someone else is learning a different way of thinking, um, and that's why they are ahead of you in the competition, because they're already learning something, and it doesn't matter if you learn like one little thing on. I bought like a key shot master classes, and I learned one thing in a master class, but that one thing made me one thing
Exactly.
better, right? And that's what it's all about. This, I mean, if you just learn one thing, that's good enough. You need to learn like you invented yourself, but that one thing will make you think differently. Sometimes it's just one thing to switch your mind, like, oh my God, I never think about that. I never think that way. And then boom, then you're a different person already, and you're a different designer already.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also, I have to be prepared for like to teach exteriors and interiors. You know,
Yeah.
I have the chance to actually instruct the students in both fields because I have been working with both fields. I was open to work, and not because I choose that. You know, I chose that. It was because like mainly like a half of the year was part of like a one in studio, and another half I was putting another one, and that was actually pretty good from General Motors that we have to work in different fields, and doesn't matter the situation. It's actually the way how I think that should be. You know, we are designers, scientists of forms that follows functions, and on and as a consequence, we are stylists as well. So you know, and sometimes I have to explain to my students, look, the aesthetics are beautiful, but why we need that? You know, it has to. We it's not just about the aesthetics, but has to actually have something else there in the backstage and say because we have that kind of package. Okay, so if we have that kind of package, let's how we challenge the package as well. So that's the time that we are actually real designers. It's not just beautiful sketch on the wall. There's actually all our work is not.
Yeah, I think your approach is kind of similar to mine on this subject, especially talking interiors, right? Interiors are more about the experience and how things function and ergonomics, right? So you need to see it in front of the wheel, and you need to feel good, and everything should feel seamless to you. You don't need to lean to reach out to something. You've got to be in the same position and just like have everything in your reach. And therefore, function comes first, then styling, right? I'm not talking design because design for me is something else. I'm talking styling. And when people just do styling, like you're saying, just doing beautiful sketches, which is pretty much styling, and there's no story behind it, there's no why behind it. It's just a piece of illustration that's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that as well. Sometimes I do, sometimes you do. Leandro does, just to decompress, just have fun illustrating something more outside of the box. But when it comes to interior, it's a different story. You have to be aware that everything has to function exactly the way it should be, and then design comes right after. But at first, function and then design.
This is it's pretty funny that you are mentioning about experiences because for a long time, I mean, even from our generation, like there was like an inside joke that people say, yeah, nobody nobody cares about interiors, you know, like, and then I say, okay, but I can do interiors, you can do interiors, and this was funny. Like more and more step by like even the new generation, they are not that much engaged about driving, but they are like requesting more about they are demanding experiences, you know, and not just that, but better experiences, like when you are inside of your vehicle. Doesn't matter what it be. It could be old airplanes, you know, vehicles itself, cars, you know, it could be anything. But what it really matters is the experience that you will have with that kind of vehicle, you know. And since that the experience that you have, like there is the industry is demanding that, how you will approach with that, you know. It's not just about illustration, great, cool illustrations. Again, as you mentioned, working together with your team with different kind of fields, engineering, color materials, doesn't matter. They all collaborate with the process.
Yeah, and this where that brings a point that's pretty important, especially for younger designers. Because when you're young, you don't have a lot of technical knowledge, right? You don't know how things really work, and how to put pieces together, and how to design something that will work for sure. So you rely on styling, you rely on like beautiful sketches, and I experienced like having designers that they don't have enough technical knowledge to come with a very functional and good idea, but they're super talented on sketching. And I always start telling them, just if you don't know exactly, just ask someone else that knows. Go after an engineer and ask him, oh, can you help me figure out how this part works, so I understand how that will work, and I and myself can figure out how to help you or make this part perform the same function but differently. And that's why I always advising young designers to look up for those kind of knowledge. I know technical knowledge sometimes kills the creativity. That's very debatable. You have to learn how to balance though, right? Because as you learn more technical things, your creativity is starting to maybe decrease, because now you're balancing, okay, but this is not work. This would never work because of this, and that. But then at one point something happens and you start like merging those two, and then they start like walking side by side, and then that's where you become a real designer, when you can put your aesthetic perception, your feelings, like aesthetic feelings, together with the technical side of the creation, right? And that's where you become a real designer. I mean, it's a long step, but you can speed it as you start learning more, and everything is on the reach, right? Just on YouTube.
And and also, like, sorry.
No, go on. Sorry.
And also, I think that this is a never-ending story. You know, it's a kind of maintenance that you are looking at you, and today we have those generation X, Y, Zs, and see like, okay, how I deal with that, how like they are demanding, what kind of experience they are demanding, and you have to be aware of those things that can change completely. Design that we like that we learn how to do it in the past could be completely different in the future. You know, if you don't know the process, you will not adapt yourself to those situations.
Yeah.
You know, so that's is actually for me like is mandatory. Is not to say, look, again, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but like explain me why you are thinking that way, why you want that kind of aesthetics. You know, has to be a reason. It's not just putting like a beautiful elements there. Okay, besides the elements, okay, what is the functionality behind? Challenge the architecture. How you challenge the architecture? Because today we are facing like the 6 levels of autonomy that counting with 0 or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you feel that, okay, like from the way how you are fully engaged and like a driving, and the 5 will be no what else, like not driving at all. So this is a completely different scenario that we used to have in like a 4 years from now. And sometimes you say like, hey, like, you know, professor, I don't know how it is like autonomous driving. They say, okay, have you take a bus or something like that? Yeah, take a bus. Okay. So imagine there's no driver there. You're just sitting and sharing like the same experience with the passengers. So actually autonomous driving was the atmosphere were there, but like it's just a matter of like a different technology, different time. But now you have like a vehicle that actually drives for you. You know, so the experience were there, but you don't know yet. But you can have this kind of chance right now. It is on the streets right now. It's just a matter of perspective. It's different again. You know, so that's the point of challenging yourself, or trying to discover the difference, or trying to understand how it is the public transportation in different cities, for example, that works pretty well, and you don't need cars at all. You know, how you feel with that. You know, have you traveled to those different cities and see like how that would be a day in life of that city? You know, so that's like a few things that actually I challenge my students to do.
Yeah. when me and Leandro, we used to teach together when Sketch just started, we propose ourselves not to only teach sketching, because this is one thing, right? We wanted to teach, like to teach students how to think differently as well. So it's not only questioning a technique, a specific technique, but questioning, like you said, like questioning the architecture, questioning how things work. And we always like, yeah, but and then as soon as when they will come like, but how can I do this? How can I do that? Okay, what do you need to do? You need to design a lamp, like headlamp, right, for a car. What does a headlamp do? It does. A headlamp just illuminates the path of the car. How many different ways can you do that? There's not only one way, like with a projector or whatever. There's tons of different ways of illuminate the thing that you can see right now on the streets. There, how many different ways the cars they use the same, they perform the same function, right? And that's exactly what you're saying. You have to question. I mean, you have to perform some function, and then first thing you have to do, question how many different ways can I perform the function, and then you start like looking for different answers, start sketching and thinking about and reasoning. I mean, can I do this? Can I do that? And this is a big portion of a good designer. I think someone asked on the chat what a good designer skill set is. For me, the first thing is question everything. First time you get something from someone, even if it is an engineer that everything is kind of like already done in a package, just question that. Just see, oh, this is the best way to perform that thing. Even engineers, sometimes they just offer you what's off, like something off the shelf, something is already there, but they're just looking for one solution because that's how they have been doing their job for 10 years. But if you look to a different direction, like say, for like how industrial designers do, or like how like consumer electronics do perform the same function, then you can start then you start learning different answers for the same question, right? And that's what I always also say to new designers: try to learn something new every day. Go online, go on YouTube, and try like how things work or something like that. Even if that's not worthy for you at that moment, maybe in the future they will come with a problem for you that you already have the solution in your library of the solutions, because you learned it like days or years before, right? So you don't look for answers when you get the problem. You already have to be ahead of that. You already have to be like collecting all these different types of answers, and then when a problem shows up to you, it's just like, oh, maybe I can use this and this and this to solve it. Then you already have a good start, and you can start like changing things and manipulating things from that point on.
Exactly. I don't know if you know, guys, the way I started. I learned how to design a motorcycle, but in the past I had to. I had a motorcycle in front of me, completely dismantled, and I had to assemble it from scratch. You know, it was amazing. It was an amazing experience because I learned how a motorbike works. You know, the functions of each part inside of the motorcycle, and then I learned how to challenge the package. And when I see motorbikes like Buell, you know, you understand how the function and design works, how the designing, not the design itself, but the styling works with engineering itself. So this is the most important thing. When we say about design, we are talking about challenge the package, know the functions, try to bring benefits for the customer or the user, try to fix or solve some problems that the user has. You know, this is more important than create some kind of a fancy sketches. You know, I think this is the message we have to pass to our students.
Sure. Especially for like we're talking interiors here mostly, right?
Exactly.
Especially for interior designers. If you're not good with puzzles, if you're not good in like in solving problems, then interior design is going to be really hard, because it's pretty much what it is, like solving problems. Every time they move something 5-6 millimeters here and there, you have to probably reconfigure your entire dashboard because of that movement, right? So then you have to be pretty quick and good in solving those kind of problems, in putting things together.
It's funny, you guys are talking about challenging architecture, and sometimes I have like students that showing me the creative process, and suddenly they have like a really nice sketch with round air vents, and say, why those are round air vents? Why you're already putting like air vents? I don't even know that I will need those air vents there. Like, like if it's related with with the experience that you want to provide. So the story, like the background story that you have, is really important to understand. Okay, and again, the forms following the functional behind. Okay, but why it has to be round? Why not just a blade in the entire IP that you cannot see it at all? So in challenge architecture, it actually is what actually makes a good designer. It's like always like challenging the way how you maybe drive the vehicle. Why we need a steering wheel that has to be like high on that position in particular? Like why cannot be different? Understand how is the first step of trying to challenge the architecture at all.
That's why the technical knowledge comes to play. And like you're saying, you can challenge. You can just say, no, I don't want that, I want this. But if you're just like bringing questions and not solutions, right, not solving anything, then what is it? I mean, it's easy to just like say tell the engineer, oh, I don't want that, I want this. But then if you're proposing a problem, you have to at least help with the solution, right? You have to help and try to figure out how to do. So when you present something to an engineer, make sure you at least have a little knowledge of that thing you're talking about, because it can just like kill your argument in seconds if you don't have any support for your argument, right? You have to have a little knowledge. So let's say like you mentioned the vents. Like if you want like a blade that cuts across the car, you have to at least know how a vent works and how to solve the problem. I mean, you knowing how the vents work, you know that the vents work with area, right? So we need a specific area to blow air. Like you can spread that area into the entire dash, but how the system works, then look into some solutions and help the engineering to find an answer for you. You provide with some knowledge, and you have to counter provide your own knowledge as well. And together, you guys will ride and walk into a nice solution.
Exactly, and the way how we ingress, the way how we egress as well. Understanding all the situations, it changes again the experience that you have. This is like one of the main things in the beginning that we do in the beginning of the studio in the class.
So Cleber Vieira, can you ask this question, please?
How do you see the importance of transportation design for your students? Okay, well, it's actually really important. Like the industry is is demanding industrial like interior designs, and how you approach them that way. So as soon as you can, begin to understand how you can do a new interior. Doesn't matter what could be. We have like our friend here, like Arthur Martins, that design a Polestar boat with an interior there, and this could be an approach. Like participating on those contests, and was a great approach to show exterior and interior. Like showing how it is, how could that experience it could be, was not showing like a great exterior architecture, and then he like surprises us with like a great interior again. And I was discussing with him like, look, this could be nice, and then trying to think the experience that you could have inside the interiors. And you have to have also like, sorry, my mistake. I will say, as a designer, you should be able to design anything. It's not just exteriors. It's not just interiors. It is also components, exteriors and interiors. We are talking about headlamps and tail lamps, but imagine that every piece that you have inside the interior is designed by engineers and designers. So yeah, like I will approach as soon as you can to have at least 2 or 3 interiors inside your portfolio, and make like the professionals take a look at you and think how you can approach a creative design process. So that's why I think that interior exteriors, you have to have a certain portfolio. That's the way how I approach my students. I think like in my studio class, I have like great talented exterior guys, and then like, how I begin that, you know, how I should begin to do interior. First is of course the story, the background story that you have. You have to research, make a research and see, okay, what is the briefing? You know, what's the brief? Oh, it's for that kind of country, for that kind of user in particular. Or if you don't have country at all, or even user, research. Like try to understand people, what they need, you know, first. After that, what kind of package you have for that particular user. You know, understanding the package systems is crucial. That because from the package you will deliver the way how the interior will work as well. You know, from the functionality and the package layout, you begin to address different part like of the interiors, the way how you drive, if there will be like a, if there you will have a steering wheel or not, you know, if you have 3, 4, 5 seats or not seats at all, you're just a bench. You know, you have to understand that is a kind of hierarchy inside of that process that you should begin. So I always begin with the research. From the research, we have the package. From the package, you have the package layout. From the package layout, you have the entire architecture, and then you can begin to address your design. You know.
There's another question right here. Before I'm going through the questions, do you see automation, the fourth industrial revolution, impacting the decision making of design interior?
Yeah, of course. Like everything, like is different today. How we see the automation from that, like is changing your lives, is changing your experiences. You know, like you have to think that how you see the way how you drive to your job, how you go to your job today, how you think that could be different 5 years from now. You know how like because today like I don't know if you remember the time that you will research in a library to get like some kind of references or something like that. All the information we have today is on the web, and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't even like stand up and go walking. You just like a type like something in the web, and that's it. It's there. In the our time, like in the time that I was studying, I have to be in like to take a look in the magazines and see like the references from there. You know, so ultimately, like today, you have everything in your hand, and this actually contributes with the automation. You know, actually, in one way or another, is changing the way how you experience your life as well. So you have to put the automation as part of like a different field there in transportation. It's not just vehicle that we driver headed. Like we love to like to hear V8 engines and like you know like and drive, be engaged in manual gears. But there is the other side that is completely different. You know, and you have to be open minded to trying to understand that as well.
Yeah, and you can extend that to every other aspect of industrial design. I think that's the question was more expanded like that. So let me give an example. I have everything connected to my cell phone in my house, right? Like lights, the AC, and some other things here that are connected to my phone. So let's say everything is on because the AC knows what the temperature I like during the day and what the kind of temperature I like during the night, because I set it like myself manually a couple of times, and he started learning, okay, if you set up this same temperature like 3, 4 times, maybe he wants that. And then automatically he set up for me. So I don't need to walk now into the thermostat and then set it again. Or I can either do by my phone. I can set it on my phone. But the moment I leave the house, it doesn't identify that my phone is leaving the Wi-Fi, and then it turns everything off. It turns like the television turns off, the lights turns off, the AC turns off, and then when I come back, it learns that I'm okay. He's back at home. So and it's at night, and at night he wants like this kind of temperature. The lights are on this intensity, and then it sets everything for me. And there's a kind of automation that changes your life, right? You don't need to perform all these actions. So back in the day, you have to go to the light, set the light manually yourself, then walk into the thermostat, set it again, and then turn the TV on, or like turn the TV off. If you turn the TV off, like at the same time, it actually asks you, oh, do you want to, is there time to go to sleep? Do you want to turn it off right now? Do you want to turn it off in an hour? And he asks you, because it learns from your behavior, right? And that's definitely will change cars as well, because the cars are living things as well, like a home. And he learns from you. You can extend the same experience to the interior of a car. So he knows what kind of temperature you like. Like it can recognize you with a camera. Okay, this is Cleber driving now, so the seats needs to be in this position. The steering wheel has to be in that position. He likes this kind of music, so he likes this kind of like a light, this ambient light inside of the car. He likes the AC like this, and then it does everything for you. You don't need to do anything. He recognizes you, and then he changes everything for you. This is kind of a revolution, right? When you don't have to perform actions that you had in the past, and now the machine does for you. So that extends to the interior of a car as well.
And this is also like a kind of like what I would say, like two sides, good and bad situation that you have with automation, because you were mentioned that you leave your home and everything switch off.
Yeah.
So you have that feeling in your head that you don't have to remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Did I turn the light off? I don't know.
Yeah. And that's why, like, I always try to, hey, challenge that situation again. Could be a balance, but you have to be aware of the things, because automation is always helpful in situations of emergency. It doesn't matter. It will be always helpful, but it's always really good to understand how we get there. If we don't understand how we get there, like, it will just be a matter of results, because automation is just like the same thing that there is a AI sketch, I don't know, like an AI app that is sketch for you based on a picture. And then if you think like that, it's just like robots doing design, or sketching, and they don't know the process. That's my point. If robots, they can learn the process as well and make these in a different kind of situation. And you think that the human factor makes a lot of difference, because it has personality, and this is another thing that's really important.
Yeah. The example you gave to the sketching AI, it's awesome. And if you go deep, like you learn how the thing actually works, and people always care, oh, but AI is going to take our jobs and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, at some levels it will. But then you learn to do something else, right? At one day, like the typewriters on the journal, on the newspaper, they were like a massive, like they had like a 20, but now you don't need, because you cannot own type your own thing. You can self edit your text. So this is what happen for every aspect of the AI. But the AI, that sketch, works based on existing things. So he pictures, he searches for things that he knows that exist and blends those things together, right? But it doesn't have imagination. It can dream. It can think about things that are not existent yet. So this is the part of humanity, that the human being, that would never be achievable by a machine. And when it does, then it's a different story. When a machine starts like to dreaming and starting to learning, and then imagining new things that are not based on existing things yet, then it's a different story. Then it's another revolution. But this is for maybe a few years from now. Like you said, you got to learn how things work and how people behave, and why those systems, they exist. What the system that I just described exists, like leaving the house and everything turns off for you, because someone made a study based on that. People behave, or people, when they leave home, they do this and that. So the person that designed the system, he knows what most of the people do when they leave home, or what they expect when they come back, right? And then they create a system to fulfill those needs. And that's why Cleber's saying is so important. You got to know what people needs are, and then you can design around those needs and come up with some solutions, some different solutions, and how to make the person experience a lot more pleasant on a car interior, because you know how you behave inside of a car, right? How you expect to be there, and maybe bringing some more imagination into other aspects, like for the autonomy thing. if you don't need to drive, what else can you do? I mean, you're sitting on the seat for the next 30 minutes to an hour. So what else can you do? I mean, you can, of course, you can go to your phone and start like browsing and maybe playing games or whatever. But can the car bring something else for you? Can the car offer something else for you that you don't need to hold something? It can be just there, you just sit and let it do for you, or you can just, you know, like those kind of things. That's what the imagination makes us different from machines.
Exactly.
Okay, and we have another question. How do you approach your students to understand transportation interior design?
Yeah, like, well, every time that I have my students in class, the first class again, I come back with the research, or let's say that you have a pickup truck, or you have a hypercar, or you have like public transportation. You know, understanding the package and the architecture will begin to actually narrow down the process and simplify the process. Because I think that most of the problems that I have with my students when doing interiors is a really complex environment. You know, it's not just a simple aesthetic form or aesthetic shape that actually catches your attention, but you have like the components, you have like the components including handles, door lets, you know, speakers, you have seats, you have like gear shifts, you have like the HVAC system, you have the infotainment, like infotainment screen, you have the steering wheel, all the knobs there. So I try to make them see the overall picture first, you know, beginning from the package they will be working with, and then narrowing down the process, putting a kind of a hierarchy on the process of creative process, understanding that, okay, when you look to interior, doesn't matter what kind of interior it could be, what catches your attention? You know, you have to have on a kind of hierarchy, a dominant elements there that catch your attention. And after that, you can narrow down and go into the details. Because I always say that the first weeks or like even the fourth week, I don't want to see steering wheels. I don't want to see seats or knobs or gadgets. I don't want to see any kind of detail. I want to see the overall first. You know, how it is the overall surface there. It's linking with the door, it's linking with the console, how it works your architecture first. And after that, like when you have all that kind of like established or 80% established, you can jump into the details, come back, look the overall again, and see if you can retouch a few things and begin like to the process of the refinement process. Instead of that, they will be crazy trying to like sketch a lot of things, will be overwhelmed with the situation and never deliver what I really want. So like at these, trying to follow those steps, actually, I simplify the process of creating the interior, and actually it becomes easier. You know, different from the exteriors that you have like the overall appearance of like a speed form or something, and then you begin to adapt to the package. We have package as well, but like so many ergonomic issues to discover and to understand that is like a really complex to make that thing like quite a simple.
Nice. And then we have another one.
What skills and tools does design of the future to master meaning to stand out speaking? I begin.
If I got that. Yeah. Okay. Go on, Cleber. Sorry.
Well, like first, we are like as I mentioned, you have to have the basic tools of like hand sketching or doodling. It's like a kind of process that is a kind of language that we have to understand how we get there. You know, that's why it's so important. Like even that today we have like the beauty of the technology here together with us, like using Cintiqs or the Wacom tablets. We have to be able to sketch in a
know the basics.
You know the basics exactly.
Yeah.
And after that, like understanding forms. You know, we should understand forms pretty well, X, Y, Z, and see like how that works from different kind of angles and perspectives. Is a great beginning, and understanding reflection later than for exteriors, or that doesn't happen too often in interiors. but actually you have to understand sections, you know, so how that will work like towards the form that you're like a form studying, you know, will be, I think that is crucial. Since that you know how to design a cup, a bottle, these like basic forms, you're good to go. It's just like a matter of like increasing the complexity of that
Mhm.
and understanding, of course, the entire creative process that we have so many things to learn, but basically is understanding forms, I think.
Yeah.
Good.
In addition to that, Clever, I think this was perfect. And in addition, I'd like to say that the design doesn't happen in a 2D environment. We use the 2D environment to as a start for our creation. Like it could be either paper, it could be a Photoshop, it could be a render in Photoshop, but the design happens in the 3D environment, and that's pretty important to know forms, like you said, like how to understand forms and how to represent those forms in 2D, because the 2D is just a representation of the 3D aspect of it. It's just like you try to communicate what you want the thing to look like in 3D, and that's when mastering, sketching, and hand sketching comes to play. You can use 3D tools if you want, that they're there for you to use, and you should know that too, especially today. Like if you go back to our time, like hand sketches and like a marker sketches and airbrush, it was the most amazing thing. And then Photoshop came to the game, right? And then we started learning how to sketch on Photoshop and how to illustrate on Photoshop, to a point that if you pick like Leandro's sketch and your and Cleber sketch, they look like they look super real, because they study so much like forms and shapes and how like a photograph the thing, how the light and shadow behaves over like a 3D piece, like a 3D, like a real thing that in their mind it's natural right now. So all these things, like knowing how to represent, how to come up and how to manipulate 3D or like forms in the space, that's the most important thing, like Kleber said. And
Exactly.
yeah, and all the tools that enables that, they are there for you to know, and you have to know. It's like, should I learn 3D? Yeah, you should, because if you don't, you're gonna be like the old guys that refuse to learn Photoshop. And Photoshop is a standard in the industry today. 3D is going to be a standard in the industry in a few years. So you should learn it as well. So everything that speeds up the process, that makes the process cheaper because it's faster and quicker to come with solutions, that's gonna happen, because that's the way that things work in the capitalism. Though it's money versus time, right? And time is money.
Exactly.
As much as a
I think
cliche,
that
yeah,
I think
it
that
could
what you're
sound.
saying, that to be more efficient, you
Yeah,
know,
exactly. Be more efficient, and
because
that's why coming with a methodology with for your work is pretty important. That's why Leandro's method is super cool, because he's very efficient. Through like 3 4 layers, you have something that you back in the day we spend like, and we've been there. We spent like a whole day for one sketch, and now we can do like
Exactly.
10 sketches a day, because we were like trying to make the system more efficient and more efficient and more efficient. How can we improve that? How can we improve that? I mean, and there's a lot of tools that helps you to do that, and that's how important to learn everything that you can. You got to be this full package of skills to be a good designer.
exactly.
Another one.
The ultra algorithm mobile designer can be able to have the same skills in exterior interiors. Isn't it better to be really good in one thing? Well, it's a good question. I think that well, this comes to our personality, right?
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
a matter of like what is your speciality, and this is the beauty of the humanity. We will be always like different, you know. I think that we have to know all the process. Doesn't matter exterior or interiors, but it's also what is like what do you like, you know, what do you like most. I like to do interiors, but I also like to do exterior, but mainly interiors, you know. So like it's good to know all the process, different process in different fields, but of course, since that you have the chance to go deeper in one of those, even better, because you will like able to have more knowledge. If you have the chance again to go even deeper next year again, go. You know, I think that it's always good like that you challenge yourself in those things, because sometimes you can be challenged, you know. And then what you will do? Oh, I don't know about that. I passed. So no, actually you have to deal with that kind of challenge and face the problem. So yeah, it's the both like situations is good to know all the things. But at some point, for example, in a GM position, sometimes they just put like their creative designer, you know. And at that point, they're actually accepting, doesn't matter, exterior, interiors, components, accessories, doesn't matter. You will be designing any kind of like a parts or pieces, doesn't matter. You will be designing there. Different from some companies is actually demands that no, we need an interior designer. Because probably they need like a deep knowledge about that kind of in that situation or a specific professional for that situation. So it could be anything, but it's better to be prepared, you know, than to just know like, or you know, like maybe I could fit that company, or maybe it's a company that you actually really like to be part of, and they just have interiors. What you would do, or they have like just exteriors. So that's my point.
Yeah, being efficient again, right, Cleber? You got to be efficient. Of course, you can be a specialist on exterior or be a specialist in interior, and you can dedicate your own career just on those on one of those two segments of the car design. I happen to work on both. I did exteriors and now I manage interiors, and I did interiors in the past as well. And what does that, where does that help me in making decisions, right? So let's say if I'm an exterior guy and I want to raise the belt line another 30 millimeters, what does that do for the exterior? Oh, that makes the exterior look super cool. But what does that do for the interior? Maybe the down vision angle, like the side, is gonna be damaged because of that decision, right? Now now your belt line is so high that you have to look above the belt line, so it's not perfect for interior perspective. And then again, if I'm an interior guy and I want to change this and this and that, I can use my exterior knowledge to judge, okay, maybe the exterior guys, they don't want that, maybe they want to keep it like this. And then that helps me balance my decisions because I have a little knowledge of the exterior and a little knowledge of the interior. You can have a big knowledge of one over the other, but at least you have some knowledge on the other aspect as well. So you make decisions based on what the other person will be thinking. I'll never ask for them to raise or drop that line because I know that's probably going to be good, not going to be good for interior, or if I'm changing the exterior line, or if I'm in the interior side, and if I want something else, and that would probably damage the exterior appealing, right? So you got to balance those things. So it's nice to know a little bit of those.
You know, and also it's also good that you mentioned about like the changing the outline, because today we are having a kind of studio that is collaborative. We have exterior class together with interior class, and this is funny because sometimes the students are just like, oh, you know, this is my project and everything. And now they are being challenged to work together with exteriors that if they change something, interior or exterior, they have to talk and agree together, you know?
That's
So
super
like the hard points, you know, if you change the hard points of the interior from exterior, like I have to change the interior again. So it's a kind of agreement and dealing with people. And we actually need to know how to deal with people as well inside of the studios.
Well,
The collaboration is a crucial part of the process.
Do you guys remember what happens with the Cobalt when Carlos had to increase the armrest space inside a car? Do you remember what happens with the car with the body side? We had a kind of a it was a kind of a nice package for that car when we started working on it. But when we had this kind of a decision, the body side, the exterior body side was totally damaged because we had a less space work on it. It was like a flat body side, you know?
Yeah.
So the decisions affect both sides.
And that I'll not mention exactly that example you gave, but if you want to be head of of design for any company in the future, you got to take care of either exterior and interior. You got to have some knowledge on both, right? So you cannot favor one over the other, because your product at the end is going to suffer for that decision, right? You got to be a good guy balancing what is good for interior and what is good for exterior. So I think as a working level, if you want to dedicate your own time, like just being an exterior guy, go for it. And if you want to be an interior guy, go for it. That like Cleber said, there's no right or wrong, but at least try to learn what the other side thinks and how do they think, because that's probably going to help you in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's infinite tools that we can learn with them.
Yeah.
I think this another question complement the last one. As the students, do we need to focus on both exterior and interior design project for applying for a job, or must have work specific field only in the portfolio?
No, I would honest work specific field. No, I think that you should focus on both. Since they're a student, you know, like spend as much time as you can, of course, like in different times, but like exterior and interior. You know,
not
like,
only exterior and interior, but accessories, headlamps, tail lamps, design,
including components. You know, I think that like the industry today, and sometimes students doesn't know, but like for example in Audi or like a few like other companies, they have like specific studio just for the headlamps, you know, for the components, exterior components, and interiors as well. So you see like a really capable and talented designers doing like a components in a great level that you cannot imagine. When I was in Mitsubishi, there was a time that like exterior was finished, interior was finished, and well, the overall, and they asked, hey, like we need a tail lamp. Who knows how to do it? And nobody was excited to do it and say, man, it's the tail lamp. It's really cool. And I was one of the only ones that actually was doing like several sketches and several proposals for the tail lamp, you know. And I was surprised that like the other was not like a following and doing something that could be really cool, you know. And so, and for like after a while, I was suggested to do the graphics, or the graphics over like the exteriors, like for an EV vehicle that we used to have there. And I was doing again completely different from exterior shape and interior as well, but just doing like the graphics, like the adhesive that will go to like over the exterior for this particular vehicle. It was a promotional vehicle, and I don't mind, you know. But this is also a good thing. Like we have to, like we are in automotive transportation design, we have that blast that be a kind of this small professional inside of one. You know, we are graphic designers, communication designers. We are what I would say, exteriors, interior design, product design. So we have all those skill sets in our field, and we have to take advantage of it and do as much as we can in those specific areas.
Great. How interior designers work with color and material, or coloring stream?
I think that this is a question for both of us here in Arto as well. Yeah. And like color materials are really cool. You know, they are kind of like they try to track the trends that we have and how that could be in the future. You know, with different materials. Different kind of material, different kind of textures, like kind of like eco materials as well. Like the way how you see the production and the way how you see the materials involved with the interior and exteriors in the future. You know, they help us a lot on the thinking process. You know, and that's the way how I see it. The way how you see the colors in the next few years, the way how it is today, the way how it was. So they help a lot in the creative process, and also the way how you deliver the ideas there is another like a great department inside of the studio. How you like I think that Arthur can say a lot about it as well.
Yeah. So I try to get the CMF guys to to work with interior guys at the very first beginning of the project, right? When it starts, because none exists without the other, right? Interior doesn't exist without CMF, because CMF enables so many other possibilities when you're creating a shape, because the material behaves differently, how you're gonna produce that, draft angles and all that kind of thing. If it's gonna be wrapped, if it's gonna be just painted, like if the part is gonna have a different texture. And when you're thinking interior design, you actually in your mind start thinking about how to lay out all the functions you have in a pleasant way. So everything kind of has to come together nicely and cool, right? And CMF has a huge influence on that, because you can have something as simple as a door panel with a few elements, but then CMF can enhance it and make it super beautiful because they're using a different material. But then if you cannot bring like wrapping and all the fancy materials because you're working for a company that's doing like a more affordable car, then you have to be really creative. And the CMF guys, they have to be really creative in how to break and lay out the panels on the door or in the dash to make it as attractive as expensive cars. Like expensive cars, it's easy because you don't have limits in terms of materials. You can have like a real metal, you can have real leather. No one's using real leather, but leather, right? Eco leather, like wood or something like that, like a veneer. But if you're working on an affordable car, it's basically molding color plastic with the few parts that can change color here and there, and then the texture, right? And then it's pretty important for you as an interior designer to have some knowledge of CMF as well and know what the trends are. Because when you're sketching your stuff, you actually not only sketching lines, you're applying textures, you're applying colors, you're breaking up and laying out your interior using the CMF strategy, right? And the CMF guys, they can either guide you or learn from what you want for your interior design and help you out and try to find other solutions. I always like to bring CC. She's my colleague and CMF manager at Canoe. She's super creative. She always helped me to like find the latest trends or some different materials that's out there that I don't know of, and then bring into my creations and the team's creations, right? That's I think it's pretty important for the interior guys and CMF guys to talk right at the beginning and know a bit about the other area as well. I think that's all.
Good. That's good.
And today we have like a good challenge about like the sustainability.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
how that works, or the material that we will have inside the interior. And we have a lot of like users that don't buy specific brands because they are not sustainable. You know, and this is actually something that nowadays, like Arthur, you are in California today, have a lot of problems with the
Water
ecosystem. Yeah,
water
you know,
is a
like,
big problem here. Yeah.
but we have to think about how that will be in the future. And
Exactly,
actually,
yeah.
it's completely related with the sustainability. And color materials actually clarify those situations as well.
Mhm.
Not just only that, but the experiences that you have inside the interior, for example, with like textures that you touch and feel something completely different.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
that captures you like a different moments in life.
That's part of the experience, right? That's part of the interior experience. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, good point.
Exactly.
So I'm currently a student in ergonomic design and mechanical engineering from France, and I'm looking for an internship in industrial design. I want to work in exterior design. Do you have good company?
What?
Well,
Good
what I
company.
understood is a suggestion of company to do exteriors is that like why not after your internship in industry design you can do an internship in exteriors.
Yeah.
You know, this could be a good solution just to realize how it is for you.
So, yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Oh, sorry. Finish up, and then I would just add.
And then like imagine that to make your portfolio attractable for somebody to hire you as an intern or exterior, you have to have exteriors as well. So this is the first step. It's like approaching your portfolio with different many fields will actually give you a kind of glance what you can deliver inside of that studio, you know. But I will not suggest specific companies. I suggest any kind of company. The challenge is inside you. It is not inside of the brands. And you, of course, that like it could be like amazing companies to work with. But like sometimes I had like students coming to me and say like, you know, like I want to work for Mercedes and Porsche and Ferrari, and say, okay, but until
I
you
want
have the
that.
position, what you will be doing? You know, like you will be waiting for the chance to get there, or you will be working and challenging yourself in different kind of like situations to increase your capacity and skill sets, and suddenly you have a opportunity to work on those companies, and you can propose something really cool with them, you know.
Yeah. But like Kleber said, I think it's you have to look inside yourself. It's very romantic approach, but you have to look inside yourself and see what you want. What kind of work you want to perform. Like companies, they at the essence they're pretty alike, right? They're pretty much the same. That not much different. Maybe one company approach design slightly different than the other, but at the end, OEMs they have the same approach and they have the same profile of personnel, right? Of employees. Um, Let me give you an example. The CMF manager for PSA in Brazil, Fabien Marchand, he was an engineer and now he runs CMF. Um, his degree is in engineering as well, but he actually runs is a director for CMF on a big OEM company. So how did he get there? We need to interview him to know his history. It might be interesting for you, Leandro, as well. Bring him in here. But that's a good example, right? You sometimes you have an aspiration, you want to be there, and you work. If you work to be there, you're gonna be there. If you put like some effort, you're gonna be there. I have some other examples like Vega, Luis Vega. He was the head for design, head of design for VW for years and years, and he was an artist. He was an architect. He wasn't. His degree was not in industrial design or transportation design, but he was in front of a design studio for many years. So that's again, it's something that you have to look inside yourself and see what you want to do. If you want it so bad, you're gonna work to get that, and you're gonna get it eventually.
Okay.
True.
And we have another good question right here. What do you suggest if after getting a master degree in transportation design, you don't feel ready enough to work because your skills are not at the required level?
What I suggest, yeah, you have to keep practicing. You know, like
Yeah.
I used to say that I actually was trying before I get here at CCS. I was at Mitsubishi. I was trying like they had at the time like a advanced project, and I was with no idea at all. I was trying to get back to the schools, and I actually suggest my wife say, look, uh, will you come back or go to United States to study with me and have that kind of student life again, and just to be more prepared for the industry again? Will you accept to go there with me and like try that kind of challenge again? And she said, yeah, of course. And this situation about being here and teaching happened, you know, in my opinion, was like wonderful because I can learn again together with the students and see their ideas and challenge together with them something like a quite new. So my suggestion will be, if you are aware of it and you have the chance to keep studying or to come back to study, go do it. You know, if you, but you have, of course, you have a different life. Maybe you don't have the money. I think that you will find the right solution for you. You know, it's just a matter of like trying to understand what the things you have in hands and how you can deal with. You know, because sometimes you don't have money to pay the college, but you will find a solution. And that's my point. We are like you have to think a different way all the time, you know. But I will suggest keep studying, never stop studying. You know, if you think that you are not ready for it, it's good that you are like have your that kind of conversation with yourself, with your self ego, you know, and say that I'm not ready for it. Okay, admit that and learn again. You know, like challenge yourself and do something different. You know, there's no way of stopping. I try to challenge myself and ask myself, say, I'm in the right way, or like I'm good enough for that kind of situation. Ask yourself, be honest and humble with yourself, and then like you will actually clarify the situation.
Let me get an example from myself. If I were going back to the industry today, I know my high skills, but if I to get back to the industry today, I had to learn more about Alias, more about Blender, more about Maya, more about 3D tools. You know, so that's my weakness today. But if you feel uncomfortable with your skills, as Kleber said, look inside of you and think more about what you have to learn more. If you're good in exterior design and you feel weak in interior design, do more interior designs. You don't need to practice a lot of exterior design. It's your comfort zone. Okay, think about your what is outside your comfort zone. That's I think it's a good point as well to complement this.
Yeah, I think this is what Leandro said is pretty important and was perfect. First, you have to understand and admit to yourself where your weak points are. So we understand that you have weak points and you have to work those weak points if you want to get better, right? This is the first step. Like it sounds like the a kind of thing. You have to admit you have an addition, then you work that addition. But no, yeah, you have to admit where your weak points are. You have to understand what your weak points are and work them. Let's give another example. If me, Leandro, Kleber, as we got into the industry, we just tell ourselves, okay, I know enough. I'm inside of the industry. And back then, like 15 years ago, if we hold the knowledge we had back then and the skill set we had back then, we would be nothing today. We'll be like really, really bad skillful designers because our knowledge and our skill set back then was pretty poor compared to today's standards, right? And
Even though I have like a bunch of sketches from you here, like
yeah, yeah, but this is the message. If you want to be in the industry, you always have to pursue what is the best, and you have to work your skill set to be the best as possible. Because like years will pass, and you have to, be like updating yourself. You have to change and optimize your work style and your skill set, and always try to raise the bar for yourself. Not talking about competition. If there's a competition, is between you and you. That's the best way to improve, like trying to be a better version of yourself every day. But this is the message that I think we would like to pass here for all of you that make the same questions. We made the same question as well when we were young. What should I learn? What should I understand? And I think the answer is like try to learn everything you can and be good in everything you can, because the standard will change, and then it will be even harder and harder and harder, and it's going to get harder and harder and harder every time, every year. So you got to be ahead of that curve. You got to be like, always be ahead of everyone else, and that's how you're going to get your place inside of the industry.
And this situation that we're all facing right now is like a good example. Like the pandemic. Before the pandemic, not everybody was ready for like working remotely or doing lives all the time, right? I think that though, like this that's a kind of situation can happen like in the industry or anytime, like the jobs, the way how the job, like you look at the jobs right now, the way how the architecture of those inside the industry is changing. Like is demanding that you actually adapt yourself in different many situations. you know, and that's, if you see it, that's the way how you learn again, you know, how you actually open yourself to learn again and study that in a way that you can be at your home, like us. We are in our particular places having a meeting, talking about design. You know, in like a, I think that in a few months from now, we are barely like talking to each other in that way, right? Like, or discussing that. You know, right now that we can grab a beer here and keep talking about design all the time. So this actually changed again the way how we can share our thoughts. You know, but we have to learn how to do it, right? We
Yeah.
have to open our minds and to the different, you know.
And more than your skill sets, I think you need to sharpen your creativity, your knowledge about car design, your knowledge about functionality, you know, because nowadays we have a lot of great talent designers doing some kind of amazing illustrations, you know. So that's not it's important to know that you have the skill to draw and sketching, but what you're sketching, it's more behind the sketch, you know. It's I don't know if it's behind or above the sketch, but the soul of your design, you know. I think this is extremely important when we have to evaluate a portfolio. Okay, he's good at sketching. Okay, he has nice skills with rendering. He knows how to do interior and exterior. So let's check the creativity. You know, that I think that's a really important thing that you have always sharpen.
Yeah,
So
and personality as well, right, Leandro? Because
exactly.
when we analyze portfolios, I want to see what kind of personality that person has, what kind of design he likes to do. I like to see a little bit of himself in his own designs. That's why I like to see personal projects, because personal projects, you dedicate yourself like 110%. You put like a lot of effort to do what what you truly like what he really touches you. And that's where you can evaluate a creativity and how passionate the person is about design and about his own stuff. And personality means like if you're hiring a person, you don't want to hire a generic designer that does the same solution that everyone else. We want someone that come with original solutions and have
Exactly.
original visions. Like the perfect example, Daniel Simon. When they hire Daniel Simon, it's not only because his sketches are nice, because of his renders are nice, it's because of his vision, what he envisioned as a design, and how what vision he will bring to the company, right? What kind of sauce he will bring to that company. And that's what's so important right now. Like everyone's looking for differentiation out there. And how can you differentiate yourselves without like getting the outstanding designers, like designers with true personality, like Felix Godard, Daniel Simon, like this guy, they have like a pretty, they influencers. Like how many young interior designers sketch like just like Felix because they love Felix because his personality is so strong and his designs are so unique that it inspires everyone, right? So try to work that on yourself as well. Try to learn what is you and what can you bring for that company.
Nice. I'm gonna give you just more three questions, and I think we can end up because
How to
we
pick up
are
the
almost 1 hour and a half.
Yeah, I have a meeting in 1 hour. I'm good.
Okay, we have more 30 minutes.
so
Okay.
yeah, like the way how I see that is the same way that I tried to explain in the beginning. Like see the hierarchy of the elements. You know, if this particular element in particular, the dominant element there, actually follow the function. Imagine that if I compare a family vehicle and a sports car, that could be more driver oriented. Just that kind of thought, the package will be different, could change the form itself inside of the interiors. You know, that's the way how I approach my students. Okay, understand the package first, besides just having the interior, if it's manual or like automatic gear, but the way how the driver is approached, the way how you want the driver uh, have a nice experience driving the vehicle that could be completely different from like a family's car, you know. So this can change completely the way how you see a different thing, you know. And also, like we are like in the industry, you always face budget, you know, different materials. How you see that if you don't have money at all? How you approach the thing if you don't have money at all to be like a kind of unique inside your interior? What you would do?
Mhm.
So those elements gives you references to begin your interior, in my opinion. So I always try to like, since that in college is a kind of, you have more freedom, you know, I try to preset the boundaries to begin that complex scenario that we have inside the interiors. So the package, you know, how it will be the user that will drive different many ways of that you can address the themes of your interior.
Yeah, one part. Let me just go back to that question, Andrew, because I think the question was how to think differently. Um,
Yeah.
as a designer, you should be able to identify patterns, right? You should be able to see what's coming out for like on the car industry and what is kind of starting being repetitive, like the elements that are like, okay, maybe this is a trend for now, but for 4 years it's gonna be like it's gonna pass, right? Trends pass. I mean, how to think differently. Try to understand and identify trends or patterns that are coming and avoid them for your next creation. You can of course use one thing here and there because you like it, because it's part of what you like, but always try to think outside of what everyone else is doing. If everyone is doing this, no good, I will do something else. And how do you think differently? You have to be really good analyzing people and analyzing trends as well to see what's probably going to be the next trend, because the next trend is based on the previous trend and or trends that are coming from other parts of other industries, right? So as a designer, you're not only an interior designer or exterior designer as well. You don't need to only focus on cars. You have to understand everything. I mean, I like to say when it's like people think that, okay, you just need to design, to sketch nice and do nice illustrations, but no, it's a never ending study. You have to study every day. You have to be aware, like every day, what's coming up, what's new in technology, what's new in systems, what's new that will enable different designs, enable different perspectives, right? And how you see things as well, how you approach things, how do you provoke people. You have to learn how to provoke people. Like how can you provoke in a good way, right? How can you offer something that kind of brings different emotions in a sea of boredom, right? Because everyone's doing the same thing. So when you put every car in the side, they kind of have the same solution. They kind of have the same feeling. But how are you going to provoke different emotions, right? How are you going to provoke different things if you keep doing the same thing? If you expect like something different, a different emotion, you have to try different things. Because if you're offering the same thing over and over, you're going to have the same response, right? How can you have to learn how to provoke different responses. That's what I would just
Exactly.
like to add to that
Yeah,
statement.
yeah. It's good. Let me hook as well like this, because you mentioned like a quite good understanding, like a broad understanding about like the situation. And I always push everybody, you know, like that wants to be creative, for example. To be creative, you need to understand, okay, what is the subject first? For example, you, Leandro, like you love to cook, right?
Yeah.
If it, and you do like several things there, like you say, how that guy do that? You know, like, and begin to ask yourself, but to do that in a different way, you have to learn the subject, right?
Exactly.
Basic first. And to learn the subject, you have to open your mind again. You know, like because the interiors for in Brazil could be something. In America, this the same interior automotive could be another thing. In Europe, could be completely different as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you learn different many ways about using, as Arthur said, the same object or the same subject, you know, that when you begin to be creative is because you are tracing different habits for the same functionality, you know. So misuse or using in the right way in different many ways, different cultures, because there it's sunny, here is winter. Like, you know, like this can lead to completely different paths. And that's when you begin to be creative, because being creative is something when you suggest something different for the same habits, you know. But to do that, you have to learn about those habits first, right? So you have to put yourself, or be able to put yourself in these users, inside of that user's mind, and try to understand, okay, I'm, if I were that guy, but not me being there, but actually that guy, how I will suggest something different, how it will be created, you know. And that's the point about like how to think differently. You have to understand the different. You have to understand different habits, different cultures, and then you will begin to suggest something that will be outside of the box.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is an addition to the last question. Can you suggest some magazines, websites? Do you have some daily routine for this?
Well, you know, like I would not just suggest magazines. I will
Yeah.
suggest also habits. You know, I have like I don't know if you can see here, but like it's a huge garage that need maintenance. You know, doing different things, I will say, and talking with different people, you know, could also push you in a different trend. You know, maybe like understanding different people's mind, talking with somebody that is not part of your field at all, could actually. Uh, Most of those magazines actually has like great reports about trends in your field. Of course, this is like a car design news. We have like the automotive interiors. We have like the auto design. That's some like those magazines actually reports what is happening in the industry. But these all come from designers. These all come from average people as well, just like you and me. And suddenly you have like a biologist neighbor or a doctor in the other side that face different habits, different situations that you actually not aware at all, and you learn something new. You know, you have to know how to be open-minded for like those things, and not for the current medias, just for the current media. You have to learn and take a look in the internet, of course, but your daily life and the experiences that you have will dictates a lot what you do and deliver in your work, you know.
Yeah,
Great.
exactly. Like talking to different people and learning their perspective of the world, it's gonna help you as well. Of course, you can. We all do this, right? We all have our magazines or websites that we go every day to read what's going on with the world, with the automotive world, with the design world, like inspiration sites and everything. But that's only one part of the spectrum, right? Um, I would suggest exactly like Cleber did, just have your routine, do your own things, because then like try to learn from other people as well. Try to talk with other people, what they think about this, what they think about that, because then you get different perspectives. Again, like we said at the very beginning, right? You cannot use your own rule to measure the world. That's not the way things work, right? People are different. They think differently and they behave differently. So you got to learn that. You got to be good and understanding and listening to this, even if you don't like it, even if you don't like something that's going on, or if you don't like the a kind of music that's out there, and then now it's the hit or whatever. But you got to understand why that thing is there and why it's such a huge hit. Why like a type of product is a huge hit, like on people, like what people are so crazy about it. And if you don't understand, maybe there's something else that you need to learn and you need to look into it, right? Um, I think above all, like, and the message is like, you gotta be curious about everything. You gotta question. You gotta
Exactly.
be eager
Yeah.
to learn and to understand what the world's bringing, because everything changed, and car design is not only about image, about shape, and about a line or two. This is just one aspect of the business. The car design is much larger than that. And especially I think now where everyone is kind of picky about like how that specific thing works, if it fits his needs or something like that. Like people, they don't buy cars because they're only beautiful, right? They buy cars because they fit their needs or their expectations. And before design something for those people, you have to learn what are their needs and expectations. I think this is the most important thing.
Exactly. Is it possible to get a job in a company without a master in transportation design, only with the undergraduate in industrial design?
Yes.
Yes, we all did. We all here.
We don't have master
We all
in
have,
transportation.
yeah, we all have industrial design. We all graduated into that, so that's definitely
We just have a
definitely
We
bachelor.
have two good tools here.
We don't have we didn't have enough money to apply to transportation, a master in transportation. So our school is the industry.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. So
So
definitely not a problem.
yeah, it's not a problem. Let me
I
see.
can see that Dudu Barba is doing like a lot of jokes there.
Yeah, I'm gonna block him.
Probably he's laying down on the sofa, you know, like.
He's watching
Let's
some
see.
surf channel or something like that.
What's the job scope like in the industry for automobile designers? What is the job scope like? And how does the current shift from transportation to mobility service impact the importance of automobile design?
Well, first, I will not say that there is a shift. I think there is different. You know, like you will still have like the current transportation field, driver headed, and you have also mobility. You know, is actually is another thing that will be huge in the future, but they are different. You know, like until there, like it was until we have different kind of fuel, we're still using it. We still have to design it. So don't think that is just a shift, but actually is a completely, not completely, but is a different new field that we'll have to deal with as well. And like how we'll see what's the job scope like in the industry for automotive, like in the industry for automotive design. What is the job scope? What do you mean like that? How abroad or how you can face the automotive field? You understand quite well the question.
Yeah, I didn't get the part of the question, so.
Okay, guys. Anyone else? Brazilian guys would like to make
Some questions in Portuguese.
questions.
I got 12 minutes and I have to lunch and
Yeah.
I have a meeting.
Dudu Barba, do you have any questions? Danny Boy, are you there? Let me see.
Just looking at the comments here. We should have that sometimes more, you know. It's good.
Yeah.
Ooh, where did he go?
Okay.
We have to wait because we have some kind of a delay.
Okay, I have to leave in a few minutes, okay?
Yeah. Okay, we can finish right now, I think.
Oh, a great conversation, guys.
So, guys, thank you very much. It was a great meeting today with this awesome designer, my friend Arthur Martin, Cleber Vieira. Thank you very much, Arthur, for this kind of.
Thank you for the short notice.
It was a great idea to have you here and then like to be part of the conversation. It was really nice.
Your programming be a part of automotive design in future.
Yeah, we already are. Already is. Yeah. We have like a different manufacturer that the programming design is actually part of that. So I forgot the name of the software that comes from Reno. What is the name of that software that
Grasshopper.
Grasshopper, exactly. He's already part of it. So
Yeah.
but it's another field as well. You know, like I particularly I don't like because it's really like there's a lot of programming there besides the aesthetics. You know, but it's up to anyone to do it. You know, like approaching the design with programming is already part of it.
O
Nice.
Moisés tá falando que ele tava esperando minhas perguntas, mas se eu tô na live eu não posso fazer pergunta.
You can ask right now.
I actually asked one about the Cleber's cutting paper technique. Yeah, and then there's a couple more questions, but Cleber can answer another time. Like how turn your Cintiq into a candy store?
It's a shelf, man. Like you have like just a locker behind that. It's amazing how many things you can put like hidden there.
And how to exchange candy bars for brigadeiros, you know?
by measuring the size.
By measuring the size.
Twice the size of a brigadeiro. So can I have two instead of one? Oh my God, so many good questions.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, guys.
Again, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
For this amazing live. And stay tuned. We're gonna have more in the future. And leave on the comments below if you wanna, if you have any questions, if you have any kind of subject you we would like to see being approached. So thank you guys for watching.
Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to this.
Yeah. Thumbs up, guys.
It's true.
And stay tuned because a little spoiler, we're gonna have something for next year with this 3 guys here. This guy and this guy right here. Okay. Blogueirinho. Thank you, guys.
Now.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Thank you, guys.
Next.
Thank you. See you. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Have a good day.